Now that this page is starting to grow, I figured it was about time for me to film an about me video. So I am Enya Soul, and this page was born here a few months ago as my spiritual awakening had taken off rapidly. And so now that there's more people here, it'd probably be helpful for you to know a little bit about how this happened, how this all came about. So I'm going to share that with you now so that I don't get off on too much of a tangent. I did take some notes that I was just going to try to read to keep me on point so this video doesn't get too long. So, like all people, we're all born with our own set of spiritual gifts and abilities. And like a lot of people here on earth, we end up closing those off for a period of time, sometimes the whole time we're here on earth. And then other times, they just will gradually open up if you're open to it. And if that is your journey here on earth this time, to have these gifts and abilities open. I had moved to Florida, and after moving there, I started to get really big into meditation and started listening to a lot of bioneural beats frequencies. And I would go for walks on the beach, and I started seeing what looked like DNA patterns like in the air. And for the longest time, I had no clue what that was. What it ended up being, now that I have awareness, they were actually light codes. Light codes were activating things within me, feeding me information. So some time goes on, and I was doing content creation work for brands, specifically a lot of beauty brands, as I have been a cosmetologist for over 2 decades. But I actually started getting really interested in companies that were more into wellness and spiritual wellness at that. So I had been working with this one company for a while. That ended up leading this psychic to reach out to me because she had gotten something from that company and had emailed me wanting my help with something. And because she and I were vibing out, she offered me a session in exchange for the help that I gave her. So that's where I will start with my notes. So I ended up having a session with the psychic. The way she does it, she will get quiet and tune into my energy. And then she proceeded to tell me that this was quite interesting. She's never seen anything like this before. She was describing something that felt impossible to explain, like I had multidimensional access, as if there was like a typewriter on my back coding and transmitting things that weren't of this world. I didn't know how to describe it exactly. She was doing her best, but then she mentioned something that really sparked something that made me be like, "Whoa, how does she make this connection?" And she had mentioned something about me having what seemed like a cabinet guide. Now, if you've been here for a little bit, you know that I have a cabinet that acts as a portal, and different spirits and beings that I work with come through the cabinet, and they'll light it up, and then I'll tune in to get the message, see who it is. And so at that time, I just knew that I had this cabinet that went off and was doing different lighting things all the time, but I didn't know what it was. We were contributing it originally to being just my grandma's spirit coming through, because the cabinet was made for her from my father, and she had passed away. And after she passed away is when the cabinet started going off. And she actually does come through the cabinet, but it's not just her anymore. And so, anyway, that was a cool connection. Got me really interested in just the spiritual world, and really interested about some of the things she said about me and my gifts and abilities. So then that led me into a second psychic that I had a session with, who also said that I had some rare multidimensional access, that I was a quantum energy healer. I'd never actually used that term for myself or knew that about myself, but I knew it to be true. And during my session with her, uh, we we clarified that. So after that session with her, I went into this strange, just blank mindedness for about a month. And then when I followed back up with her for our follow up session that we were supposed to have, she blindsided me and said she was no longer meant to be my teacher, and she just wished me well and completely cut me off and said that somebody else was meant to teach me. First, I was like traumatized by this. Like, I was like, what? Like, we just had this amazing 4 hour session the month before. Like, she and I thought we were going to work together, and then she just cuts me off. And I was just like, what did I do wrong? Is something wrong? And she just wouldn't respond. So just a few days after that happened, I realized it wasn't a person that was supposed to be teaching me. My guides came in, all of them. And it was them who, from this point forward, I would start working with. And like the girl said, when it started, it was going to come hot and heavy and it'd be a lot. So, my spiritual gifts and abilities, they are very broad. They are not just your I'm a psychic type of spiritual gifts and abilities. I have multidimensional access and I act as a quantum restorer, offering transmissions for souls, families, and people that have transitioned. I can communicate with people who have passed away. I can also do medical intuitive scans. There's a lot of different things that I can do. Too much to go into detail here about. If you want to know about some of the services and the different type of things that I can offer, I do have that over on my website now, and you can check all those things out. But now that this video has gotten so long, in closing, if you are here and you're seeing this video, it could be just because maybe there's something that I can help you with, or maybe because you yourself are waking up, because so many people are awakening right now. Their spiritual gifts and abilities are opening back up. The veil has gotten so thin. And so, if this is something that is interesting to you or it's just lighting you up hearing the story, then this might be you starting to awaken yourself.